NewsNation just delivered the most revealing UFO reports in their latest news segment. Former government UFO program staffers are now saying, according to George Knapp, this.
Always something more pressing than UFOs, so the people who tell these lies get away with it.
But in the same broadcast, they're reporting actual UFO collisions with military aircraft, and FBI investigations are outperforming the Pentagon. This is your complete breakdown of the NewsNation segments that just exposed how deep this really goes. Hey ufologers, I'm Cristina Gomez, and welcome to this episode of UFO News Updates. NewsNation has become one of the new mainstream media outlets that is seriously researching UFOs. But recently, they investigated that some UFO stories were fabricated as cover for something else entirely. Strange, right? Well, you might not think so, but the timing matters here. If you enjoy UFO news, updates, case studies, and interviews, then this is the channel for you. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button and share this with those that you want to keep up to date with the latest UFO news. Trump is back in office declassifying JFK files. Chuck Schumer immediately responds, okay, now do UFOs. And people who have stayed quiet for decades are suddenly talking. And in the last few weeks, more and more people, like Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet and journalist Ross Coulthart, are mentioning that the Pentagon is engaging in a UFO disinformation campaign. It's getting pretty juicy. George Knapp opened the NewsNation interview with something that should shock everyone. Former Aero staffers are admitting they fabricated classic UFO stories. He's frustrated, stating they're never going to give this up. Take a listen.
Well, one thing we know is they're never going to give this up. I mean, it's pretty clear. These recent reports that have been issued by Aero and now the repeated media statements by the former Aero staffers, there's nothing to it. There's no information. There's no proof. It's stuff that we made up. It's disinformation that we spread out there. We created the story about Area 51. We created the story about nukes being disabled. That's all us. All the technology that people have been seeing in the skies around the world, on every culture, every continent, throughout human history, that's us. It's preposterous. It's ridiculous. There's no way we could ever accept it. But Aero has made it clear they're not going to give this up. They're not even giving it up to Congress. I admire the people who've been pushing the ball down the field in Congress, but they've been manipulated on this topic as well. There's always something more pressing for members of Congress, for the public, you know, a job, your mortgage payment, your family, bills for Congress. There's Ukraine, there's Gaza, there's the stuff in LA that's unfolding right now. Always something more pressing than UFOs, so the people who tell these lies get away with it.
His point is crucial. If Aero admits to creating fake UFO stories, what explains the continued military encounters? The admission raises more questions than answers. But notice what Knapp asks when given the chance to question the man who knows.
George, if you were to meet the man, okay, in quotes, and the person who knows, what would be the three things that you would want answers to?
I'd like to know ultimately where they're from and what their intentions are regarding us. Are they interested in us? Where they're from? Are they interested in us or the planet more than us? Number two is, why the secrecy? I mean, I could see it in 1947. We just come out of World War II. The world's a mess. Do you need to share that with the public and tell them there's another intelligence more advanced than us? Well, why the secrecy now, though? Number three, if the technology is being tested in secret in some hangar somewhere, what do we need to get it done? Can we ever master it? And are the national security implications legit? Because there is a race for this technology. Us, the Russians, the Chinese, maybe the Israelis. How do we ever separate the UFO technology from national security concerns that would allow some president to step up to a microphone and say, we've been lying to you, here's the truth?
Knapp doesn't ask if the phenomenon is real. He asks where they're from and why maintain secrecy for 80 years. That question reveals everything. Knapp understands the 1947 rationale, but can't figure out why to continue the charade now. Then Luis Elizondo appears with information that puts the Aero admission in perspective. An FAA report from the war zone confirms a collision. between a UFO and a multi-million-dollar Air Force jet during a routine training mission on January 19, 2023. The damage forced an emergency landing.
When you have an incident involving a $40 million combat aircraft, and only the details now are starting to be released through Freedom of Information Act and FAA, there's a problem. Now, we've been saying for the last 8 years since I've been out that there have been dozens upon dozens of these near-air collisions that have occurred with military and civilian and commercial pilots. This is not just happening with military aircraft. Now, this is the first time we heard of an actual mid-air collision, but some of these objects are coming so close to combat aircraft that they are literally splitting that combat formation right down the middle.
But he also reveals something that should concern everyone. The FBI team investigating UFOs is running laps around the DoD's Arrow program. A small FBI unit is outperforming the Pentagon program specifically designed for UFO investigation.
Been working with the FBI on their investigations, their FBI investigations. What can you tell us about what they're finding? Is there anything new there?
Yeah, well, I'll say this. First of all, America is getting a heck of their money spent very well with the FBI. I'm absolutely amazed how well they're doing. In fact, they're running laps around the Department of Defense's Arrow program that was established specifically to look at UAP. And the FBI team, it's a small but scrappy team of folks, are really doing one heck of a job. And I think if you look at Luna's recent statement that she said when she was asked about the FBI meeting that we helped organize in the SCIF, she said it was a 10 out of 10.
Did you hear about this? This was news to me. Then Ross Coulthart joins from Australia with the missing piece. David Grush, the whistleblower who testified about non-human biologics, is now working with Congress. Marco Rubio, who pushed for transparency, is Secretary of State. The people demanding answers are in position to get them. Question is, where are the answers? Ross also confirmed something extraordinary about underwater encounters.
I've had the privilege of speaking directly with submariners, particularly, who have been witness to measurements of objects underwater using the sophisticated tracking technology that both the US Navy and my Navy in Australia use. And there are objects that have been recorded unbelievably moving close to the speed of sound in air underwater. So we're talking there about hundreds of kilometres an hour, hundreds of miles an hour. And there's no explanation for it. What we do know is that it is now officially admitted that the mystery of these objects is real. The United States has come a long way in the last 5 to 7 years. It now admits officially through the Director of National Intelligence that, in fact, there is a mystery, a genuine mystery there that requires investigation.
But this NewsNation segment only gets more interesting as the NewsNation broadcast shifts to something more personal. NPR's Scott Simon reveals a decades-old, off-the-record conversation with Jimmy Carter about UFOs.
I said, look, if there were other civilizations out there, would the government have to keep it a secret so there wouldn't be a public panic? And Jimmy Carter, if I may say, God bless him and God rest his soul, said, the way I see it, there is nothing to fear. If there is life out there, we are all part of the same master plan, and God's hands are big enough to hold us both.
Carter's response reveals remarkable wisdom. This isn't the world view of someone hiding crash saucers. This is someone who processed the implications of non-human intelligence and made peace with it. Simon's decision to reveal this conversation now after Carter's death suggests recognition that maybe we're at a turning point. The human cost of secrecy is becoming clear. People have carried these burdens for decades. And Jeremy Corbell's question cuts to this human dimension where he stated, what made you look beyond your orders and keep this from the American public? That's what people who have spent careers living in possible secrets and what it takes to make them crack. And now for the last segment, Congressman Eric Burlison provides the clearest picture of current political dynamics. He's been directly reaching out to Trump's policy team, advocating for UFO disclosure through executive order. His reasoning: Trump positions himself as the people's president, and people want answers. And keep in mind, Burleson was in Mexico City on June 20th learning about the Bugosphere and the Nazca bodies. Out of all the congressmen, why did he go? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What emerges from these NewsNation segments isn't disclosure. It's exposure of a multi-layered deception where AARO, according to Knapp, fabricated some UFO stories to hide real programs run by private contractors, with government officials providing cover while corporations controlled the actual technology. Ross's sources in defense and intelligence are saying it's time the American public was told what the U.S. really does know, specifically that humanity has been engaging with an advanced non-human intelligence and we have been receiving their technology. Operational reality described by people with access, not speculation. The NewsNation reporting reveals we're watching disclosure happen through contradictory admissions, leaked documents, and people breaking their silence. The 80-year secret isn't breaking because of government transparency. It's breaking because humans have limits. More NewsNation revelations are promised this upcoming week. Congressional hearings are scheduled, or I guess in this case, rescheduled. Trump's position on UFO disclosure will be tested. And the question is, what answers do you want? What do you think is really happening? Share your thoughts and subscribe for updates. That is it for today. I will see you next time. Be safe and remember, keep your eyes on the skies.
If you enjoy the strange and the mysterious, UFOs, the paranormal, and cryptids, this channel is for you. So make sure to subscribe as I do 3 videos right here every single week, and hit that notification bell so you do not miss any of the bonus content I post right here.